Have you ever noticed that often those who are too nice end up being stepped on, deceived, or simply left aside? Maybe you've been through this, always wanting to please, helping everyone, but in the end, the one who suffers the most is you. This happens because in the real world, just being nice is not enough. Machiavelli, a very famous thinker, already said centuries ago, "Those who want to stay strong need to know how to be bad, but calm down." We're not talking about being cruel or doing harm without reason. The idea is to be bad in the right way. That is, to use malice strategically, to protect yourself and not be deceived. Today, I'm going to show you exactly why your nice side may be weakening you, and how you can change that by learning to act with more firmness and intelligence without losing your essence. Stay with me until the end and find out how to use Machiavelli's advice in your life. Oh, and before we continue, take a look to see if the notification bell is already activated. That way you won't miss any content like this, and you'll always stay up to date with everything. Okay? Why being too nice weakens you? We live in a society that greatly values kindness, politeness, and respect. That's great. But the problem starts when a person is too nice, to the point of forgetting themselves. Those who are too good are often seen by others as weak, easy to manipulate or use. And you know who already talked about this? Machiavelli, an Italian thinker who lived over 500 years ago. He said that to maintain power and respect, it's not enough to be good. You also need to know how to be firm, tough, and even bad in the right way. Very nice people usually have a hard time saying no. They accept almost everything, even when they don't want to or don't agree, just to avoid conflict or not hurt others. They always put other people's interests ahead of their own. And in the end, what happens? They are used, devalued, and end up losing power and respect. Now I want to see if you have the courage. Write in the comments the last time you said no to protect yourself. Let's see who has really learned to be bad in the right way. Machiavelli said that those who want to maintain power need to act strategically. It's not about being bad out of malice, but about knowing how to protect yourself. When you're too nice, you end up making it clear that you accept everything, that you don't set boundaries. And those who don't set boundaries lose the respect of others, lose authority, and over time, lose self-confidence. Think carefully. Have you ever found yourself doing things just to please others, even knowing it would harm you? Have you ever refrained from saying what you think for fear of hurting or upsetting someone? This is a very common behavior among people who are too nice. They think that by always being kind, others will recognize them and reciprocate with the same affection. But unfortunately, that's not always how it happens. Machiavelli said that those who want to govern or lead sometimes need to be tough. They need to know how to say no, cut off harmful relationships, make difficult decisions, even if that displeases some people. And you know what? This doesn't apply only to kings or politicians. It applies to all of us, in personal life, relationships, work, anywhere. When you learn to set boundaries and value yourself, you start being seen with more respect. People begin to realize that you don't accept just anything, that you take care of yourself and know how to protect yourself. Machiavelli believed that power and respect are earned, not simply given as a gift. Those who are too nice end up letting others walk all over them. Have you ever gone through that? I bet you have. After all, who hasn't been too nice thinking they were doing the right thing, but later realized they only got hurt? The lesson Machiavelli leaves us is clear. It's not enough to be good. You need to be strategic. You need to know when to be kind and when to be firm. Don't be afraid to protect your interests and set boundaries. That doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you someone strong, who respects themselves and knows how to stand up for themselves. When you always say yes, even when you want to say no, you feel bad. And over time, that accumulates a very heavy emotional burden. You feel used, you feel tired, you feel that no one truly values you. It's as if people only come to you when they need something. but never to offer you help or support. And that hurts, doesn't it? Machiavelli talked a lot about the importance of appearance. He said that often it doesn't matter if you're a good person inside, but rather how people see you. If you project the image of someone weak, submissive, and who accepts everything, that's how they will treat you. On the other hand, if you show that you know how to set boundaries and don't accept just anything, others will respect you more. Being bad in the right way means not accepting abuse, not allowing people to walk all over you, and knowing when to be firm. It's not about going around fighting or being aggressive, but knowing how to stand your ground. This is essential to maintain your emotional health and your dignity. Machiavelli believed that those who don't know how to protect themselves lose everything. And he was right. Therefore, it's important to reflect on how much you've let your kindness weaken you. Think, how many times have you said yes just to avoid a conflict? How many times did you refrain from defending yourself to not upset someone? Now it's time to change that. Time to learn from Machiavelli and use this strategy for your own good. Being strong doesn't mean being cruel. It means knowing how to protect yourself and value yourself. And that will make you more respected and happier. If at any point while watching you thought, "It's true, I've been through that," then give me a like. That means this message reached you, touched something important, and maybe even helps you act differently from now on. Here's the insight that few people understand. Being bad, in the context of Machiavelli, is not about being cruel, but about being strategic. It's about knowing how to protect your interests, even if that bothers others. It's about having the courage to say no, set boundaries, cut off toxic relationships. Being bad in the right way is about rationally choosing when to be tough and when to be flexible. Machiavelli would say, power is maintained not with good intentions, but with firm decisions. Think of a simple example. At work, that person who always accepts all tasks, never complains, and is always available is often the one who suffers the most from overload and lack of recognition. Have you noticed that? On the other hand, those who know how to set limits, even at the risk of being misunderstood, tend to be more respected. This is the kind of strategic badness that Machiavelli admired. It's not about being cruel, but about knowing how to protect your position. Another example, in personal relationships, how many times have you seen someone being manipulated because they didn't want to seem rude? The desire to please can turn into an invitation to be used. Machiavelli saw the world as it is, not as we would like it to be. He taught that human beings do not always act with kindness, and those who don't understand this end up being victims. That's why, according to him, it is essential to take a more strategic stance in life. This is the true meaning of being bad in the right way. It's not about hurting, but about avoiding being hurt. Remember, those who don't know how to stand up for themselves leave room for others to decide for them. And as Machiavelli said, those who want to maintain power must be willing to make difficult, often unpopular decisions. So, if you feel like you're being taken advantage of, that no one respects you, or that others are always benefiting at your expense, maybe it's time to put Machiavelli's lessons into practice. Start small, learn to say no without guilt, to set clear boundaries, and to distance yourself from those who just want to take advantage of you. Machiavelli knew that those who are seen as weak do not inspire trust or respect, but those who are firm even when criticized gain authority. Finally, remember, being bad in the right way is an act of self-love and self-respect. It's about protecting your space, your energy, and your peace. And you, are you ready to start being strategically bad, as Machiavelli advised, or will you keep letting others decide your worth? Think carefully. Those who want respect need to give themselves respect. Did you like the content and want to keep receiving this kind of truth that almost no one has the courage to tell? Then subscribe to the channel, because this is the right place for you to grow and strengthen yourself. Machiavelli wanted us to understand one essential thing. Not all kindness is positive. It seems simple, but this idea is far from what many people think about being good or fair. For him, simply acting kindly without thinking about the consequences, without using reason, can lead to failure, the loss of power, and even bad situations for those who depend on the leadership of the one acting this way. He taught that true strength lies in acting rationally, not with blind emotion. This means that important decisions, whether in politics, business, or personal life, need to be made with a cool head, without being carried away only by what the heart feels at the moment. After all, acting solely on emotion, without thinking about the consequences, can create space for abuse, betrayal, and the loss of what has been achieved. Being bad, for Machiavelli, was not synonymous with cruelty or gratuitous malice. On the contrary, he saw this malice as a means to a greater end, maintaining control and ensuring that what really matters, the stability, security, and well-being of the group, is not destroyed. In other words, being bad is acting with firmness, with clarity of purpose, even if that means making tough decisions that may displease in the short term, but are necessary to protect the future. Machiavelli knew that the world is full of challenges, people who want to take advantage of the weak, and moments of conflict and instability. Therefore, his most valuable teaching is that kindness without strategy can be an invitation to defeat. He warns that leaders or people who want to grow and maintain what they have achieved need to understand that it is not possible to please everyone all the time, and that having limits is essential. When Machiavelli talks about the need to be bad in the right way, he is teaching us the importance of balancing reason and feeling, firmness and flexibility. It is not about abandoning values or becoming someone cruel, but about learning when to act firmly to protect what is essential. Imagine a situation where a person always says yes to everyone, to avoid conflicts, to appear good. At first, everything seems calm, but over time, this person may end up being manipulated, disrespected, and even betrayed. That is what Machiavelli wants to avoid, that the nice side, if not accompanied by strategy, becomes a weakness. Machiavelli invites us to reflect on what it really means to be strong. It is not just about having a kind heart, but knowing how to use intelligence to make decisions that ensure survival and long-term success. He teaches that leaders who only follow emotion, who avoid confrontations at any cost, end up losing control and influence. Therefore, when you think about being bad, think about what Machiavelli meant. Be smart, be firm, protect your interests, and above all, ensure that what is important to you and your group is not destroyed by misplaced kindness. This teaching, although ancient, is very current. Whether at work, in the family, or in friendships, knowing how to balance kindness with firmness is what will ensure that you are respected and that your achievements are lasting. Machiavelli shows that true strength lies in acting with clarity, with strategy, without being carried away only by what seems right at the moment. Therefore, if you want to stand out and protect yourself from the traps of the world, it is necessary to understand Machiavelli's true teaching. Not all kindness is positive, and being bad in the right way is an intelligent way to maintain your space and your security. This teaching from Machiavelli is extremely current and can be applied to your life in various areas, whether personal, professional, or emotional. The first thing you need to understand is that defending your boundaries is not just a right, but a necessity to ensure that no one crosses what you are willing to accept. Many people think that being nice means always saying yes, giving up their own desires to please others. But Machiavelli teaches us that this kindness, if without strategy, can end up being an invitation for others to take advantage of your goodwill. Therefore, a fundamental step is learning to say no when necessary. Saying no is not being mean. It is being firm and intelligent. It is protecting your energy and your space. This is a clear way to apply Machiavelli's true teaching in daily life, to act with rationality, not with blind emotion. In addition, not allowing yourself to be manipulated is essential. There are people who, without realizing it, use the kindness of others to their advantage. Machiavelli saw this very clearly in his time, and his advice serves all of us. It is necessary to be alert, not to be deceived. Another thing you can apply is to act firmly when the situation demands it. It is not about being cruel, but about having the courage to make difficult decisions that protect what you have achieved and ensure your well-being. Machiavelli talks a lot about the importance of maintaining control of the situation. In real life, this means that you must lead your own story, not letting others dictate your paths out of fear of seeming bad or difficult. Being bad in the right way is acting strategically, knowing that the balance between kindness and firmness is the key to a safer and more respected life. For example, at work, you can be a kind and cooperative colleague, but if someone tries to step over you or use your efforts without recognition, it is time to set clear boundaries. Saying no when necessary is an act of emotional intelligence and protection, exactly what Machiavelli valued. In emotional life, the same applies. Loving does not mean allowing abuse or disrespect. Knowing how to impose limits and act firmly is taking care of yourself and, consequently, of the relationship. If you think that being bad is being cruel, it is time to change that view. Machiavelli shows us that being bad in the right way is being strategic, thinking long-term, protecting what really matters. And this not only strengthens you, but also creates true respect from those around you. Real power, according to Machiavelli, does not come from pleasing everyone, but from being firm when necessary and acting intelligently to maintain your position. Therefore, applying his teaching is being aware of your value, your limits, and having the courage to defend them. It is using kindness wisely and not letting it weaken you. Always remember, being good does not mean being foolish, and being bad does not mean being cruel. It is a matter of strategy, emotional intelligence, and self-defense, which can completely transform your way of dealing with the world. Being too nice can make you weak. It seems contradictory, but it is the reality that Machiavelli wanted to show us. Kindness without strategy can turn into vulnerability. In a world full of challenges and conflicting interests, just being good is not enough to protect yourself and stay strong. True strength, according to Machiavelli, lies in knowing how to be fair, acting with firmness and intelligence, but never being naive. Being fair is not being weak, and being firm is not being cruel. Real strength comes from a wise balance between common sense and the courage to be bad when the situation requires it. Machiavelli, in his writings, made it clear that those who want to guarantee power and security must know how to use evil in a calculated way. It is not about being bad for the mere pleasure of cruelty, but about protecting what is important to you and those who depend on you. It is knowing when to be tough, to maintain respect and order, and when to be flexible, to build alliances and grow. This teaching is more current than ever. In your daily life, whether at work, with family, or in relationships, understanding this difference can change the way you act and prevent you from being exploited or left aside. Think about what Machiavelli said. Power is maintained not with empty good intentions, but with firm, clear, and strategic decisions. And this is a lesson for all of us who want to live with more autonomy and security. Being bad in the right way is an act of courage and intelligence. It is defending yourself with dignity, setting limits that respect you and others. It is an invitation for you to reflect on how much your kindness is being used to weaken you and how that can change. If this content made you reflect, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Here we will learn together to be strong, with wisdom and balance, inspired by Machiavelli's timeless teachings. And tell me in the comments, have you ever been too nice and regretted it? I really want to hear your story. Sharing experiences makes us grow and understand that true strength lies in knowing how to balance goodness with what is necessary.